Hello everyone, this is Priyanka. Welcome to my channel Priyanka's IT School. Today I am sharing 6 tutorial on software testing and the topic is Software Development Lifecycle Models Part 1. So, software development lifecycle is a process used by software industry to design, develop and test high quality software. SDLC aims to produce a high quality software that meets client expectation. I have already discussed SDLC details along with its all phases in my third tutorial. So please refer third tutorial for SDLC details. Now, it is an important part of tester role to be familiar with all the common SDLC, that is software development lifecycle models, so that appropriate test activities can take place. No matter which SDLC choose, but testing activity should start as early as possible in the life cycle. So software development life cycle always talks about process. There are two important categories or two common SDLC models or methodologies we have. So first one is sequential development model and the second one is incremental or iterative development model. Now let's talk about sequential model. What is sequential model? A sequential development model which describes the software development process as linear sequential flow of activities. This means that any phase in development process should begin when the previous phase is completed. In theory, there is no overlap of phases, but in practice, it is beneficial to have early feedback from the following phases. Now, sequential model are best suitable for small size of projects where we can say all the SDLC activities will be carried out one after another for entire the project. So the best example for sequential models are Waterfall model and V model. Now, what is incremental or iterative model? Let's see. Incremental development involves establishing requirements, designing, building and testing a system in pieces, which means that software features grow incrementally as the size of feature increments varies. Incremental or iterative models, or this is best example for developing big size of application or big size of project, where a big project will be divided into modules, then all SDLC activities will be carried out, let's say module by module. So rapid application development, prototype model, spiral model, incremental model, agile model, these are the best examples for incremental or iterative model. Now in this tutorial, I am going to discuss waterfall, incremental and spiral model. One more important point, SDLC model must be selected and adapted to the context of project and the product characteristics. So let's continue with first model, that is waterfall. Yes, before going to start waterfall, let me discuss one more point. See, these SDLC models, previously almost 15-20 years back, we have waterfall, incremental, spiral and V model. The agile model is the latest one. Okay, before going to know about agile model, we need to learn little bit about previous model, because once you understood limitation of previous model, then you will get, you will easily understand the requirements or let's say advantages of latest model. So waterfall, this is a let's say this is very old and first model which came into the market whenever IT industry started. At that time waterfall model is started at the beginning level, then incremental, then spiral, and after this three model, V model comes into the picture. After that, agile model comes into the picture. So agile is the latest one. Now let's talk about waterfall model. What is waterfall model? In waterfall, all the activities, that is all these SDLC phases, yes, in every SDLC methodology, phases are common. Okay, all the SDLC phases are common. So in waterfall model, all the activities are completed one after another. Okay, so this is referred as a linear sequential model, and this model is best suitable for small size of project where requirements are very clear as the size of application is small. So this often consider the classic approach to the software development life cycle. In this model, you can see where each phase complete their task one at a time, and there is no overlapping between the phases. Each phase we have clear documentation, or let's say clear requirement. So output from one phase can be considered input for the next phase. So each and every phase have a clear documentation, and based on documentation we can proceed with the next phases. But here you can observe test activities only occurs after, this is a testing phase which occurs after all the development activities have been completed. So can I say testing start late in the life cycle. Now, let us talk about advantages of waterfall model. So this model is easy to understand and simple to use. And again, for any project, if all the requirements are stable, then this is suitable. This is a very suitable model to deliver, quality project to the client. So this model is good for management control and work well for smaller project. Now, let's talk about challenges of waterfall model. In this, testing start late in the life cycle. So adjusting scope during life cycle can kill the project, and we cannot accommodate frequent changes in this model. So waterfall is a poor model for complex and ongoing, or let's say long projects, right? So that's all for the waterfall model. Now the second important one is incremental model. To solve a few problems of waterfall, the process is divided into multiple iteration. Okay, so in incremental model, requirements are divided into several standalone software development modules. Each module passes through the requirement, design, development, and testing. So here, let's see. This is a set of requirement. If client provide you some set of requirement, then these requirement get divided into the set of multiple iteration. And here you can observe each and every iteration having the common phases, let's say requirement, then design, development, and testing. And this module, or we can say this is for one single module, and this module release is all about build. Okay, so we can refer the release of this module as in terms of build. Now let's say, so what you can say, set of requirement get divide, right? Set of this requirement get divide into the multiple variety of builds, and every subsequent release, okay, every subsequent release of the module adds a feature to the previous release. So at the build number 2, what you will get, you will get a complete software which having all the build number 1 feature plus build number 2 feature, right? Because every subsequent release added a previous functionality with some new feature. Now until this, let's say we will continue, we'll continue until the whole software, the process of testing will continue until the whole software is achieved. Okay, so regardless of whether software increments are released to the end user, regression testing is increasingly important as the system grows. Why it is so? Because regression, it is all about whenever there are changes in application, we can go for regression testing. So here, as per the client requirement, we can simply develop the application into multiple iteration. And whenever there are changes, right, because build 1 having a basic feature, then build 2 having a features of build 1 plus build 2. So at the end of build 2, in testing we require, to conduct regression testing, and that's why regression testing is important in your incremental model. Now this is your incremental model, and let's talk about advantages of incremental model. So this model is easy to manage risk because it has been managed through the multiple iteration, right? So incremental model generates working software quickly, or let's say early during the life cycle. This is more flexible model as we can accommodate with new requirements in terms of builds and the version. Now challenges of incremental models are, let's see, it needs good planning and well-defined module interface, because very first the complete requirement get divided into the multiple iteration. So it requires well-defined module interface. In incremental, only one more, challenge we have. In incremental, only one phase of testing is available, and the total cost of entire project is always high. So these are some challenges we have. In waterfall also, if you observe clearly, we have only one phase for testing, and in incremental also we have only one phase for testing. Now let's talk about third important model, that is spiral model. So spiral model is what you can say incremental risk oriented life cycle model, which has four important phases. First phase is determining objectives. It is all about requirement gathering phase. Okay, so where particular client requirement get gathered, and based on that only second phase, that is all about identify and resolve risk from the application. So very first, this model having a key feature that this model supports, or this model provide risk analysis process or provide risk analysis feature. Now the third one is engineering activities, that is all about development and testing process, and the fourth phase is planning for next iteration. So software development process will go in these four phases in iterative way. So in first phases, requirement get gathered, and the second phases, risk and the alternative solutions will be identified. In the third phases, and once again, yeah, at the end of the risk analysis, prototype get generated. So prototype, it is all about very first application prepares, or application need to design with respect to prototype. Then that prototype get evaluated by the client. If client accept the prototype, then and then only final implementation in terms of development testing perform. So prototype is important, and what we can say spiral model combines the feature of prototyping and the waterfall model. So here what you can say in spiral, the fourth phase is all about the plan next iteration, where the software product output is evaluate and the next iteration planning is proceed. So risk analysis is the key feature of spiral model, and this model is developed for products, not for the project. Now the concept, what is mean by product? See, software products which develop based on the market surveys and market need. So example, all the versions of Microsoft Office suite, then all the different versions of Windows operating system. Let's say Windows, first there was Windows 98, then 2000, then Windows 2005, Windows 2008, then Windows 2010. Why these products have multiple versions? Because these products get developed based on market need. With the help of spiral model, initially they develop one product, and as per market need get the requirement, and they simply develop those requirement and deliver the entire application as a product to the client. So let's discuss key features, or let's say advantages of spiral model. In this model, this model helps to reduce risk, and proper risk management is available in this model. And this is the key feature of spiral model, risk analysis task. Software is produced early in the life cycle, and changes in requirement we can easily accommodate because it's iterative nature. Now let's talk about challenges of spiral model. Spiral model is not suitable for smaller project. This model is expensive because cost of product is based on number of iteration required. So here total cost of entire application, it is decided based on the multiple iteration, and at the end we can simply define the complete cost of the product. So now this model is expensive, and this model also we can use for complex application and any kind of critical software development process. In this model also we have only one phase of testing, and this is a big challenge. So if you clearly observe, in waterfall, in incremental and spiral model, we have only one phase for testing. If we found any problem, then we need to test, or we need to check all the previous phases. And to avoid this, guys, next model comes into the picture, that is V model, which integrates the test process throughout the life cycle and implements the principle of early testing. So in my next tutorial, I will discuss on V model and agile model. So that's all for this video. Please do subscribe and hit the bell icon for all the latest notifications. Thanks for watching.